center ourselves, and followed by some music. Now our musicians.
Good morning. It's good to be with you again. I'm Kate, for those of you that I didn't meet last time. It's good to be here. I'm hoping you guys will help us out with this song. There's a part that just says together. It's the easiest song to remember of all time. It just says together a lot, so when you hear me say it, you should sing it as well. And keep it going. God is doing something new. May we always know you have blessed us with each person that walks through the door. Each one makes us new. Your presence, Lord, makes us more complete. At the center of this journey with you, to be rooted in love, serving together, help us to live, lead us together, bind us as one, bring us together. Lord, your kingdom come, your will be done, rooted in love, serving together, help us to live, lead us together, bind us as one, bring us together. Lord, your kingdom come, thy will be done. And if your will is done, everyone is loved, everyone is free, free to be brand new. Bless us with the fruit of the Spirit, help us hear it when you call us back to you. To be rooted in love, serving serving together. Help us to live, lead us together, bind us as one, bring us together. Lord, your kingdom come, your will be done, rooted in love, serving together. Help us to live, lead us together, bind us as one, bring us together. Oh, your kingdom come, your will be done. May our love grow together and our patience grow together. May our joy grow together and our faithfulness grow in this community. Our goodness will grow and our love will grow together. May our joy grow together and our faithfulness grow in this community.
Such is the goal. Grasshopper. Oh, but the noise, the joyful noise, is to thank our musicians, Kate Lamont and Kev Choice. Good to see you again, Kate, and Kev, maestro. Grazie. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Good to see you all today. Again, thank you to our musicians. Here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, we teach spiritual principles and practices that nourish, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all life, which is a tall order, but we're doing it, one consciousness at a time. And welcome to those who are joining us live stream today on YouTube. Special welcome, wave to the camera. We used to do that a lot, remember, before the pandemic, wave to the camera. And if you're joining us later, we thank you for your support. You could be seeing this a day or two or a week from now. And is anybody here for the first time? No? No? Okay. Because if you do, the ushers have a special gift for you. I don't see any hands raised. Okay. Where? Oh, okay, back there. Yeah, Dana, if you can go. Oh, there you go. Like crystals right there. Very good. If you'd like to connect with us and know what we're doing here, please email Constance Chapman, our administrative coordinator. Her email is constance@oaklandcsl, that's all one word, oaklandcsl.org. And so like always, this is a very important part of our introduction and announcements is the blessing of the children. Wherever they are, we've got some up in the upper room there, and we have a slide for that, I believe. There we are. So we're going to say this all together. We honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you. We see you. You are Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives. And so it is. Yeah. Announcements. Next Wednesday, practitioner Zoe DeMuro will be sharing his insights on we greater than me? Going further, that's the subtitle. Meditation at 6:30, and the service is at 7 p.m. Wednesday night services, we've been saying this for a while, and we are going to continue to say it. Wednesday night services are on Zoom, so don't come here if you're local. October, okay, next slide is about the October Pledge Month. It's now almost halfway through the month, and we have received 19 pledges totaling $69,000. It takes approximately $400,000 to run the center. That's annually, right, Jerry? Okay, almost $500,000 to run this place. The Board of Trustees needs your commitment to be able to put together a package that will keep the village humming, thriving, and that will attract the perfect and right minister and co-ministers, and we'll get more into that later. We are an incredible village, there's no question about that. We really are a dynamic community here. We've been through a lot together, and together we will go further. Please put in your pledge today. The link for the online pledge is on the home page. Okay, well, there's that slide. I'm going to borrow some words from PBS and KQED. These programs and classes and services are made possible through generous donations from members like you. Okay, so the next announcement is about the nonprofit. Please nominate your favorite nonprofit organization for our 2022 program. Let's keep this wonderful program alive. To do so, we need your application. Application on the right-hand side of the home page. That's such a great thing that we do here, that we showcase every month some nonprofit, and nonprofits struggle, as you know, well, everybody's struggling, but it's very difficult to keep them alive financially. So we're doing a good thing here, advertising them. Okay, this next one has to do with the committee co-creation process. Please mark your calendar for Friday. This is a very important event. This has to do with bringing in the new minister and how we're going to envision this village, this center. Mark your calendars, Friday, October 29th, 6 p.m. for our community co-creation process. If you're participating, please go to our website and print the packet. There is information there. So if you really want to be involved with this, go to the website and print that packet. You'll need to have that in hard copy for the service. So this is going to be a directed process. We're having 2 consultant ministers from headquarters go through this with us. Is it 2, Robert? 2, yes, thank you. And there's also 2 videos to watch ahead of time. Are those the videos on the other centers? Okay, okay. Okay, so watch those videos. I get more out of videos than sometimes reading, so that's just me. They're only short, they're only 3 minutes each, so you don't have to look at a tutorial for an hour and a half or anything like that. The Zoom link will be sent later, so please again mark your calendars. October 29th, it will be all Zoom. Yes, sir. Okay, all Zoom. And then finally, we have officially formed, and I'm announcing our Minister Search Committee, and these are the names I'm putting together. Okay. Dorothy Mendez, Beth Van Arkel, Elke Moritz, Linda Wyman, Anthony Prado, Barbara Gordon, Louis Thompson, Susan Urquhart Brown, and Bonnie Gonzalez. Very dedicated people who are involved with this. And again, this is different again from the co-creation thing that we're doing on October 29th. I don't know if I should repeat information about that. Okay, the co-creation process is October 29th. It's for the whole village. Out of that comes 12 people who then on the 5th and 6th of November go through an all-day process of visioning for this minister. Then we have the Minister Search Committee. My name is in there, by the way. And we're going to be, again, formulating, interviewing, receiving applications, that whole process. So those are 2 separate issues. I know it can be confusing, but I just want to clarify that. Robert came up a couple of weeks ago and explained it, but I think it bears worth repeating. Okay, the next announcement is on the diversity circuit. It's meeting in person. It's a different time, and it's outside in the courtyard on a Saturday morning, October 23rd. It was usually on a Friday night, but it's going to be on October 23rd, 11:30 to 1:30, so a daytime event, daytime meeting. This will be an open forum on celebrating diversity at the Oakland Center for you to bring your awareness, for you to bring our awareness to something on your heart. Very good. To review the presentations since January and discuss and identify topics for next year. So your input is appreciated. We might even have some fun diversity-related activities. Oh, and bring a lunch and bring your mask. Who is that masked person? Which one? Okay. When you leave, we are asking that you leave the service immediately after the service. Exit doors, I guess most people are coming out of this door, and our minister, Reverend Savanna, will be there to greet you. Again, check our website for all kinds of activities and see what we got going on here. We have many things going on. Again, website is oaklandcsl.org, www.oaklandcsl.org. And finally, and certainly last but not least, is our vision statement. So if you all want to stand for that and read that, that would be great. Together, the vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming, inclusive community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. Thank you, and have a good week.
So, my name is Eliza Young, and I am a practitioner here. And I have a couple of readings for you. Before that, I want to remind you that we have the prayer room in the back of the sanctuary. So if you want a short prayer after the service, please go out the exit doors and then come back in the entrance door. And someone will be there to pray with you. And you could also go online and get a practitioner, a longer prayer if you want something like that. Call on the telephone or set up in person, however you want to do that. So, but just be sure to go out the exit and back in again. That's our Alameda County Health Department rules. And today we have two readings. An African proverb: alone we can go faster, together we can go further. The second reading is from Ernest Holmes. If we do not merge with others in cooperation, in unity, and in happiness, we may be certain that there is something in us that still feels it has been rebuffed. So I know there's only one life. That life is God's life. It never rebuffs you. It always welcomes you in unity and in cooperation and in love. It is magnificent. It is everywhere present. It is in every sanctuary, every gathering, every leaf, every molecule, and the spaces in between. There is God everywhere present. It is right here where I am and who I am. And it is each one of you bringing your goodness to this service. And I know that Reverend Savanna is bringing us a magnificent message today. She speaks divinely guided by the One, bringing us wisdom and joy and curiosity and love. I know that the musicians and the ushers and the tech team and everyone is here to bring this service together in wonderfulness and excellence and goodness. And I welcome the consciousness of everyone who's here and who's watching by live stream or watching later. There is no time in God. This greatness is always present, right here and right now, and I'm grateful for it. And so I release it to the law that says the service is done in perfection in the mind of God, and it is being done right here, right now, and it is good. And so it is. Musical inspiration, yes.
When your shoulders have borne more than they can stand, seems you've been walking in a land unknown. Go to God in a place beyond your fears. God is loving you, be still. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. When your shoulders have borne more than they can stand, seems you've been walking in a land unknown. Go to God in a place beyond your fear. God is loving you, be still. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. Stand on the rock of those who've gone before you, those who hold you high in glory, and those who hold you close in prayer. Stand on the truth. God is the power. God is the way. God is the answer. Accept what has been given. It's the reason why we pray. And the things that held us back will disappear. And the veil of tears won't be heavy anymore. A life so torn apart will heal again. Trust in God, I know you will. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. Stand on the truth. God is the power. God is the way. God is the answer. Accept what has been given. It's the reason why we pray. And the things that held us back will disappear. And the veil of tears won't be heavy anymore. A life so torn apart can heal again. Trust in God, I know you will. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. Accept this prayer of love in your
Accept this prayer of love in your heart. Oh my gosh, Kate, that's so beautiful. And Kev, Kate and Kev, let's give them some more love. Thank you. Oh, hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Jerry, your minister here, and I am here today because I am welcoming in our guest speaker, who's really not such a guest. She and I served here for many years together as staff ministers. She's a dear friend and a colleague and someone that I just love, and I know you all love her too. And if you haven't heard her before, you'll hear her now. She left us to move up to the Amazing Grace Center for Spiritual Living in Seattle, Washington, but she's with us today. So I'd love to welcome Reverend Savanna Riker.
I got to get used to this, what do you call it? Standing in the center of the room. If you remember, we always would stand at the podium here. And so I got to get used to this. So let us just take a holy breath. Let's take an inhale. You made it. And exhale. You're here. You're present. It's so good to be back. I've missed you all. I love Seattle, but I also love this community. It's like my other home, away from home. And this morning, I wanted to talk about something that actually, as always, I always do my own thing. And I wanted to just bring to you some inspiration this morning from my own heart and from what I've been experiencing and going through. And so the topic that I've chosen today is called The Doorway to the Heart. The soul's journey, if you've heard of Joseph Campbell's work, the soul's journey and the hero's call, it always starts, as we're called to the adventure, it starts with an intention and a calling to the journey of life. In his work, they refer to this as the hero, or I like to say the heroine's journey. And on some level, we understand that there is a basic pattern of experience. There is a basic spiral of experience that life and stories follow. That all of human experience follows, and they are patterns that we have followed over and over for centuries. Every story and tale that we read always starts with a call to the adventure. And so what happens is once the character, our person, goes into the story, they gather the people that they need, the allies and the resources to support them, whatever is necessary on the journey. And then usually in the spectrum of that journey, there's this transition or something happens, and they move from a great shift or change, and they cross this threshold from one world to another. I love this metaphor of Joseph Campbell's work because it totally applies to the journey that we as human beings are on all the time. And often in our stories, the person on the path starts to become afraid of the journey, second-guessing ourselves. Sometimes we retreat in what's known as the belly of the whale. Then, of course, along the way towards our goal, there are ways that we might mess up or miss the mark, that we learn and we trip through our experience, which is then the road of trials and tribulations. And at some point, there is a reward. There is a reward that we gain from our process, and then there is a return to normalcy. We might have gained on the journey greater healing and greater insight, where we can move into or up level into another version of ourselves, a master of two worlds. Oftentimes in the story, there is a return to wanting to be of service in a greater and more profound way. I'm reminded of stories like The Wizard of Oz, or Luke Skywalker in The Return of the Jedi, Harriet Tubman's story, or even the story of Rocky. But when we find ourselves on this spectrum of the trials and adventures, we might find ourselves in the dark, in pain and sorrow, in unknown, in uncertainty. And this is the space where we know that we are sometimes, and most of the time, pushed by pain towards the return, towards the mastering of two worlds. My pain, I know 100% has been one of my greatest teachers. The self-created suffering mostly has been my greatest teacher, and it's provided me contrast of where I am and where I want to go. It wasn't until I realized that I had this deep belief that life somewhere in my history was meant to be about suffering. It was modeled to me from parents growing up as a child, a mother who was always suffering. She was a victim to something, and there was always this feeling of powerlessness. So I made a commitment to myself that as I have navigated my own life, that I would not be powerless. I made the decision, but that belief of I must suffer was somewhere in my consciousness and my thinking. It was still operating. Have you yourself had these types of beliefs? I gotta struggle. Life is meant to be hard. Where's joy? Finding this teaching has shown me that life is really meant to be about joy. That joy is the essence of life. It is the essence of who we are. It is essential to us, and it actually should be our normal state. Ernest Holmes reminds us, he says, "There is this question, however, which naturally arises. Why all the suffering, sorrow, and pain? Why has tragedy accompanied the journey of man? There is no way through which true individuality can evolve. Man must be let alone to discover himself, else be compelled arbitrarily to follow one road, in which case he would be an automation and not an individual. When our life is not working the way we would like, pain invites us to revisit our purpose and consciously redirect our path." You see, pain, I think, is the perfect fertilizer. Life goes through seasons, just like a garden. So pain, you could think of it as fertilizer to use to prepare the grass and the flowers and the trees to grow. Fertilizers, they work by providing essential nutrients required for a strong and healthy plant. And so how has your pain, can you look at your pain as an essential ingredient required for your development? Because we all go through it. What is the pain guiding you to release, to enhance, or to substitute in order to achieve a dynamic and meaningful, fulfilling life that you desire? I think of pain as preparing the soil of our lives. And it represents our deepest soul purpose. I loved that Kate sang a song by Ricky Byers because Ricky Byers has always inspired me from a really young age in her songs because they're so relevant and real. Some of you might know a song she sings. It's called "All Fades Into God." And I want to share a little bit of it with you. It's in my pains, there inside my weakness, is the seed of something greater than me. And the shame of not choosing higher, and all the disappointing moments fade into God, and no mistakes have been made in God. All the ways that we seem to fail, in God all things, it all fades in to God. Yeah. She continues to say that the stars are shining to remind us that a seed will need the darkness to change into new life, and that no mistakes have been made in God, and that all the ways that we seem to think that we have failed in God, it all fades into God. You know, I sing that because it helps feel it. You felt it. The other thing I want us to remember is that pain is not punishment. Pain is not punishment. We get the opportunity to stop thinking that you must have done something wrong if you are experiencing something painful. It's more likely that you have either set a clear intention or you've identified a deep desire that you want to change. I look at pain as information. Iyanla Van Zandt always puts it this way. She's an author who I love. She says, the acronym for pain is pay attention, inward, now. Pay attention, inward, now. So therefore, anything that is not in alignment with our highest and best good must come forward to be replaced. So you might recognize how today's painful experience is helping you move away from something that is out of alignment with your deepest desires. Identify how that pain is actually pushing you towards what you really want. And so now is the time to let go and to release anything that is a barrier to your best life. We don't always get to see what is behind the curtain. I wish we could. We don't always get to see just yet what is behind the curtain until life asks us to pivot, until we've gone into the depths, until we are ready to grow our consciousness. There is this practice in the Buddhist tradition called Tonglen. And from Pema Chodron's book, The Places That Scare You, she talks about Tonglen, how it is the exchanging of oneself for others. It is a bodhisattva practice for activating loving kindness and compassion. It literally means in Tibetan, sending and taking. It refers to being willing to take the pain and suffering of ourselves and others and to send out happiness to us all. And so we breathe in what is painful and what is unwanted with sincere wish that we and others could be free of suffering. And as we do so, we drop the storyline that goes along with the pain. We feel the underlying energy. We completely open our hearts and minds to whatever it is that arises. And then as we exhale, we send out relief from the pain with the intention that we and others be happy. We are willing to stay even a moment with the uncomfortable energy. Then we gradually learn, as we do that, not to fear it. If we can sit with our discomfort. Then when we see someone in distress, we're not as reluctant to breathe in the person's suffering to send out relief. Glennon Doyle, who wrote the book Carry On Warrior, Thoughts on Life Unharmed, put it this way. When her pain is fresh and new, let her have it. Don't try to take it away. Forgive yourself for not having that power. Grief and pain are like joy and peace. They are not things we should try to snatch from each other. They're sacred. They are part of each person's journey, and all we can do is offer relief from this fear, from the fear of, I am all alone. That's the one fear you can alleviate. The last thing I want you to know about the doorway of the heart is that we can allow and let pain to be the pathway. It is actually, I have found in my own life, the pathway to a more open heart, instead of being self-indulgent. It's important to, I think, acknowledge our pain, to acknowledge that we are experiencing it right now, but we cannot allow it to stop us from moving towards something greater and higher. Replacing the consciousness that delivered the pain with a renewed commitment to demonstrate our best life. And so we have the opportunity to choose the qualities of God that have been missing. We get to increase our spiritual practice. You will notice that as you start to shed the old ways and the old ways of being, the false beliefs, that your faith deepens and you begin manifesting the life that you have longed for. Your journey through the pain is actually your pathway to joy. For sure, none of us enjoy painful experiences. But instead of avoiding it, ignoring it, or pretending it doesn't exist, how can we sit with it and be with it and allow it to transform us and to keep our hearts open? So recently, this has struck me in a very personal way. I've lost about 4 people in the last few months, and I know I'm not the only one, because everyone in here can probably say that you've had loss touch you at some way, in some capacity over the last year, 2 years. One of my deepest sorrows as of late has been a friend of mine from Oakland who went missing, and they haven't been able to find him. And it's that sorrow of like, how do you grieve something that you don't feel you have closure with, right? And I was thinking about this from the context of what it must have been like in World War II. All of those stories about people who were living in Germany and Europe as the countries were being blown apart. If you can think about how what it must have been like to constantly have your nervous system engaging from this place of uncertainty of just needing to survive. It's like people were just fighting to survive. People's families were split apart. Their children were somewhere else, and they wouldn't see each other for years, if at all, right? They didn't have time to grieve. They didn't have time to even feel it all, because it was about survival. They just had to keep going, and they had to keep moving. So it reminded me of the fact of my own luxury that I have to process it and to feel it, to be with it, to heal. We've always said that you cannot heal what you don't acknowledge, that you're not aware of. And I would say that this experience has opened a doorway into my heart of grieving so much that I love even more. It's deepened me in ways that I could not have predicted. Pain can do that if we allow it, to keep our heart open. And if you take anything away from this talk, I hope that it is that you keep your heart open. Your pieces, and I mean pieces, P-I-E-C-E-S, when you find yourself in pieces, those are the very evidence of your humanity. If we can get this bird's eye view of them, then we will see that those tower moments were absolutely necessary. Those difficult moments were necessary. Those falls and those deep dives into the abyss, those things were necessary. The doubts and the confusion that you might have was part of the process. And something that I'm understanding myself, especially in working with clients and friendships and just relationships in general, is that we can't rush someone else's process. We cannot rush their process, and we want them to change. We want them to grow faster. We want people to show up the way we think that they should. And the challenge is to continue to be at peace, to maintain peace when those around you have not shifted or will not shift. When things are in pieces. So those tower moments in your life may not have been easy, sometimes tragic, debilitating, painful, but vital for us to reclaim our sovereignty, to know our strength and how everything fits together in the tapestry of our lives. I know, I say this because I've seen it now out picturing in my own life, and it's a really beautiful thing. So I want to close with this quote by Glennon Doyle. She was on Oprah once doing this interview, and this is something that she said that I loved. What happens when we transport ourselves out of the pain is we miss all of our transformation, because everything we need to know to become the people we need to be is actually inside of our hot loneliness. When we jump out of it, when we jump off of our mat, we are like caterpillars that jump out of our cocoon before we would be butterflies. So all of those easy buttons we were using, mine was food, booze, and drugs. But some people's are sex, shopping, and overworking, and unkindness. When I feel someone has been unkind, I know that all that has happened is they have felt the hot loneliness. But they didn't know how to be still with it, so they pass it on to the next person like a hot potato. Pain is not a hot potato. Remember that. Pain is not a hot potato. Pain is a traveling professor. And it goes and knocks on everyone's door, and the smartest people are the people who say, "Come in," and just don't leave until you've taught me what I need to know, to their pain. Pain is not a hot potato. It is a traveling professor. May it guide us to deepen our consciousness, to learn more about who we are, so that we continue to open our hearts to one another. Let us go into prayer now. So just taking that holy breath in, we exhale. Just allowing everything that has been said in this service to percolate, to come into your space, your awareness, settling the mind, settling the heart. Remembering that the very breath that you breathe, everything that you are is of this one substance, this one life, this one power and presence that I call God. It is this beautiful intelligence that is everywhere all the time, that is informing us all the time. And so we get to remember this power and presence that is the essence, and it is never the absence, for it is right where we are. When you put your hand on your heart, you feel it. It is palpable. It is the essence of love itself, for love is the greatest power, and it is infusing itself into each and every one of us right here and now. And so what I'm claiming and knowing for all of us here is that we recognize and remember that even in the midst of sorrow or pain, there is still that divine, beautiful spark, that spark of life, that spark of love that is guiding us forward out of stuckness, out of fear, out of separation, coming back to the wisdom that is inherent in each and every one of us. And so you can remind yourself today to come back to the truth of who you are, which is the embodiment of love itself, of beauty, of intelligence, of peace, and of joy. And so letting go of anything right now in your life that might have you think that things are falling apart, letting go of anything that separates you from the source. We let go of worry and fear, of disillusionment. And we come back to our essential nature and the truth of wholeness, of perfection, of harmony. For I know and believe that everything is truly working together for good, even when I can't see it yet. And I know this to be the truth for all of you in this room as well, and all watching on the live stream. And so now saying some prayers for this community. For our nonprofit partner, Cattown Oakland, their mission to transform the approach to saving shelter cats, reducing euthanasia nationwide through great homes for cats that are considered traditionally unadaptable. We bless them. We give thanks for all the work that they do in the world. For our planet, Mother Earth, I just give gratitude for her beauty, her resilience, and our increasingly mindful stewardship of her. I bless our youth and the youth of the world, knowing that they are guided by the loving mind and heart of Spirit. I bless all people here that are in service today and in this community who are continually wanting and desiring to create a world that works for all people. I'm affirming and knowing love and comfort and healing for all people everywhere impacted by challenges in whatever form. For Tom, Johanna's sister Barbara Vivino and family, Eleanor Vincent and her husband Alex, Gail and Denise Johnson, Amethyst, Mary Sloan, Barbara Tompkins and her mother Gertrude, and all people everywhere who are impacted by disaster, weather, or COVID-19. giving thanks for all the hearts and hands of this beautiful community that make Oakland Center for Spiritual Living the beautiful place that it is. We also lift in our hearts this morning anyone who has made their transition, peace and comfort for anyone dealing with loss or grief. And if you feel so inclined, you might take a moment to say those people's names out loud as we honor them. And so giving thanks now for the inspiration that has been this morning and for all that is to come. I am so deeply blessed by your presence here, and know that as we move forth into the world, that we continue to remember that divine spark. And so together, let us just say, Ashe, Namaste, and so it is. Amen.
So let's give Reverend Savanna, our old soul, for her beautiful wisdom. Thank you. So we are in the middle of our pledge campaign, as you heard earlier, and that slide was like, yikes, it's the middle of the month. Well, there are more than what were represented on the slide this morning. So I do want to say that we have 22 pledges in and upwards of $80,000, which is fabulous. Yet it's just a quarter of what we need. We need a little more. So I'm here today to encourage you to fill out your pledge card if you haven't. The link is on our website. There are also cards in the back of the seats. We'd love to have your support and your involvement in bringing forth 2022 in a greater, grander way. As you know, we have all this fabulous energy around bringing in a new minister or co-ministers to our center, however that should unfold. And that's going to take additional resources. So it's very important that everybody get on board with us. Yes? So if you haven't, I know our bookkeeper, Dal Becker, I'm working closely with her because in November is when we do our budgeting, and our budgeting is based on our pledges and the resources that we know we'll be receiving throughout the year. So it's a wonderful opportunity to give to this community. You know, now that we're back in service, there are more expenses that we need to consider. Heat, lighting, staff, everything that it takes to make this such a beautiful service for everyone sitting here and for our live streamers out there. So the link to the pledge card is on the website, and your gifts are so much appreciated. I truly, truly thank you for your generosity and how Spirit is showing up in each and every one of you. This month, we also have, when you pledge and if you auto tithe, then you get to put one of these in the basket each Sunday to show that you have given your gifts. And each Sunday, so we have 3 Sundays left, today I'm going to take this opportunity to invite Eliza Young back up to the pulpit. She's going to share a demonstration on how this community has supported her with abundant blessings. So Eliza, come on.
Oh, so I'm so grateful to be here. And I was always giving when I was here on Sunday, but some Sundays I wasn't here, and or if I was at another church, I was like, well, do I give here and give at my church? Oh. So I'm not sure this is a CSL thing. I think maybe it's just the Oakland Center. The practitioners are asked to give in a demonstrable and consistent way. And for me, it was the consistent part that wasn't really consistent. It wasn't really serving me. And so And it was Reverend Jeff who just said, well, just pick an amount, even if it's $1, and, and then just see what happens. So I picked an amount. It was more than $1. It wasn't 10%, I have to say. But I picked an amount, and then I said, well, I really want a growth experience, so I'm just going to add $50 onto that, because that feels a little scary. Like, I don't know if I can afford that, because I work for myself and my income goes up and down and my clients go away and, So, but I did that and I thought, well, I'll just try it. And if it doesn't work, I can just call the credit card company and cancel it. And it's a practice. It's a practice. It's just like meditation or your affirmations or your prayers. And some days it feels really good, and sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know, I could have had this or this or this if I wasn't giving all that money to the church. But when it's not just about money, that's what I really learned. And I read this thing, and I'm just going to read it out of the magazine. I said to Jerry, well, maybe I'll paraphrase, but it's very short. I'm just going to read you a few sentences, and it gives me a chance to plug the Science of Mind magazine, which I love. I get it every month. So this is from Jesse Jennings' column, and someone asks him about money and prosperity and their relationship and how it's going. And he says, let me see, where is the part I want? Beliefs about money overlap and intertwine with beliefs about the self and everything under the sun with which the self interacts. So, there really is no such thing as poverty, prosperity, consciousness. There is only consciousness. There's no such thing as poverty consciousness or prosperity consciousness. It's only consciousness. And this is what I learned when I tithe in a consistent manner. I started to look at my beliefs about everything that I thought money would give me. And then I started to look at, things that money wouldn't. How was I abundant in other ways? And we talk about having money from sources known and unknown. Well, I received a raise, which I didn't ask for, and that was a known source, working. But then there was other money that came. There was a company that I do business with had a class action lawsuit, and I got a big check from that. That was unexpected. And then also they lowered my premium. I was like, oh, well, that's nice. And so, and I received gifts from people, and I started to look around at how much love I have in my life from my family and my friends and my church family, and how abundant that is. And I thought, well, we should just know it, Why don't we just know that? Because we didn't used to pledge with the minister that was here before, and, I was like, well, can't we just know that we have enough? Well, yes, and we say treat and move your feet. So for me, moving my feet was about actually signing the pledge, which I gotta admit, I haven't done. I'm going to do this today, Jerry, I promise you, and then you can get your more amount before the end of the, so, but it's, the money is not going to magically float from my bank account to the Oakland Center account. I have to do the move my feet part. I have to sign some paperwork and set it up so that it continues. And I started to look at consistency or inconsistency in other areas of my life. And that was very useful information. What is this serving me or is it not? So it has been a magnificent spiritual practice that I continue to use. And it's just like meditation or spiritual mind treatment. Sometimes it feels like it's working, and sometimes it doesn't feel quite. But I keep doing it because overall, it's working. Believe me, it is working. It has changed my life dramatically. And so thank you for listening. And I encourage you to try it. Just try it. A small amount, whatever you feel okay with, and then, if you don't like it, well, but try it. I decided to try it for a year. That was my idea. Try it for 1 year and review after 6 months. Hey, this is working. So I went another 6 months. Yes. Get your
it. Yes? Thank you for that. So this is an abundant universe. And God, Spirit, Allah, whatever you choose to call it, wants us to live our lives more abundantly. So I encourage you to go within and just think about how the abundance of life is showing up for you. How you can step into the law of circulation by supporting our spiritual community in this way. The gifts you receive in turn are multiplied and pressed down, and you are abundantly blessed as a result of your givingness of spirit. So I'm thanking you in advance. Today, the practitioners are having a meeting, and I'm putting the bug in their ear to make sure they all get their pledge cards in, and we're having a Board of Trustees meeting and the same. And Eliza, thank you, get your card in as soon as possible. So now is our conscious giving time as well, and this is another opportunity to give to our spiritual community. So I encourage you to take your gift or your pledge card or however it is you choose to support our community this day, and let us recite our giving affirmation with vigor, okay? So joyously, I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive, and so it is. Thank you all very much. Gift in the basket on the
Good morning or evening, friends. Here's your friendly announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster. Could change your joy and laughter to tears and pain. Oh, it's that love's in need of love today. Don't delay, turn yours in right away. Because hate's going round, breaking many hearts. Stop and please, and for it's gone too far. The force of evil plans to make you its possession, and it will if we let it destroy everybody. We all must take precautionary measures. If love and peace you treasure, then hear me when I say all that love's in need of love today. Don't delay, send your sin right away. Don't you know that hate's going round, break today. Don't delay, turn yours in right away. 'Cause hate's going around and always breaking hearts. Stop and please before it's gone too far.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kev Choice and Kate Lamont. Some love. And another abundance. I got 6 months of free rent because of some violations that the property manager did. I was just thinking of that when I was sitting there. This was a while ago when I first started pledging. So anyway, from sources known and unknown, and unexpected, I'm telling you, try it. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, our musicians, Reverend Savanna, and all of our tech team. I'm not going to read all the names because sometimes it changes, and our counters and our ushers and everybody that put this service together. Thank you so very much. And thank you to the practitioners that will pray in the prayer room. If you would like prayer, please go out the exit doors and come back into the entrance door. Let's see, and to leave immediately after the service. No lingering in here. Linger out there. Okay. Let's see. I think I covered everything. So now we get to read our affirmation, which I hope is on the screen. Okay. As we go and grow further together, the world might. So it is. Amen.
Blessed all